Hello everyone, this is the sixth online tutorial video for class 7 history. We were doing the chapter New Kings and Kingdoms. Now we have been doing the part of the Chola Empire. We will continue with that in this video, and we also will try to finish the chapter. Many of the achievements of the Cholas were made possible through new developments in agriculture. So the Cholas put more emphasis in agriculture. The river Kaveri branches off to several small channels before emptying into the Bay of Bengal. If you remember the map of river Kaveri, it bifurcates into many small riverine channels before disseminating itself into the Bay of Bengal. These channels overflow quickly, depositing fertile soil on the banks. Water from the channel also provides the necessary moisture for agriculture, particularly the cultivation of rice. Although agriculture had developed earlier in other parts of Tamil Nadu, it was only from the 5th or 6th century that this area was opened up for large-scale cultivation. Forests had to be cleared in some regions, land had to be leveled in other regions, land had to be made flat, lands were made flat. In this delta region, embankments had to be built to prevent flooding and canals had to be constructed to carry water to the field. Embankments are wall-like structures along the banks of rivers to prevent flooding, to prevent overflow of the river into the land or into the cultivation field. In many areas, 2 crops were grown in 1 year. So that was an area where 2 crops can be grown in one year. One is the winter crops, one is the summer crops. Probably this division of crops. In many cases, it was necessary to water crops artificially. A variety of methods were used for irrigation. So some areas where river waters did not reach, so artificial irrigation was set up for that particular area for cultivation. In some areas, wells were dug. In other places, huge tanks were constructed to collect rainwater. Irrigation work requires planning, organizing labors, organizing resources, maintaining these works, and deciding on how water is to be shared. Most of the new rulers, as well as people living in villages, took an active interest in these activities. Now we look at the administration of the Cholas. How was administration organized? Settlements of farmers, settlements of peasants, known as Ur, became prosperous with the spread of irrigation agriculture. Groups of such villages formed a large unit called Nadu. The village council and the Nadu performed several administrative functions, including dispensing justice and collecting taxes. So one settlement of farmers, one village is called Ur, and a collection of villages, a large unit of many villages, many Urs, is called a Nadu. Rich peasants of the Vellala caste exercised considerable control over the affairs of Nadu under the supervision of the central Chola government. So some farmers were rich, they belonged to the Vellala caste. They exercised control over the administration of the Nadus. The Chola kings gave some rich landowners titles like Muvendavelan. Muvendavelan, a Velan means a farmer, and that farmer serves 3 kings, that is Velan. Arayar means chief. So these titles were given as marks of respect, and the kings entrusted them with important offices of the state and the center. We have seen that Brahmans often received land grants. The Brahmans were given lands by the kings. This grant, this land which was given by the king to a Brahman, is called Brahmadeya. As a result, a large number of Brahman settlements emerged in the Kaveri Valley and in other parts of South India. Each Brahmadeya was looked after by an assembly or sabha of prominent Brahman landholders. These assemblies worked very efficiently. Their decisions were recorded in detail in inscriptions, often on stone walls of temples. So, the temple walls became a very important part of inscriptions. What were the inscriptions containing? The day-to-day working of the Sabha. Associations of traders known as Nagarams also occasionally performed administrative functions in towns. Now, inscriptions from Uttaramerur in Chingleput district, Tamil Nadu, provide details of the way in which the Sabha was organized. So, Uttaramerur inscription provide details how a Sabha was organized. The Sabha had separate committees to look after the irrigation works, gardens, temples, etc. Names of those eligible to be members of these committees were written on small tickets or palm leaves. These tickets were put into an earthen pot, from which a young boy was asked to take out the tickets one by one for each committee. So, when an election was happening to the committee, now the people who considered themselves to be eligible to be elected into the committee, they put their names in a pot and they wrote their names on a palm leaf and they put that leaf into a earthen pot, and a young boy was asked to take out those leaves, those tickets one by one for each committee. So that was the chapter. We finished the chapter. From the next tutorial video we will start a new chapter. Probably question answers will be done when the school reopens. Don't worry about that. Question answers, I will do the question answers with you. For now we are only trying to do as many chapters as possible. Okay, so till the next video, bye.